All right, pleased to be joined by Jason Day, my next guest. And Jason, you're coming back from Australia. You're there, obviously, for the Australian PGA. How are you feeling? How was the trip?
I'm good. I'm still jet lagged actually, which is kind of crazy to think. Typically, I deal with jet lag pretty well, but this time around it's kind of kicked my butt. But it was nice to be able to get down to Australia. It has been a long time since I've been back there. 7 years since the last time I was there, and then on top of that, I think it was 2011 or 2012 was the last time I was back in Brisbane playing a tournament. So it was nice to feel welcomed back home. Um, the golf course was great. Even we had about 350 mils, which is probably what 14 inches or so of rain in for like 4 to 5 days, which was kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, no, overall the golf course held up pretty nice. And then it was unfortunate that we only had played 54 holes, but we ended up, getting the tournament in, and I played pretty decent, but like I just didn't. I finished what T8. I had 3.5 months off, so it was kind of nice to be able to come back after 3.5 months and still finish, pretty decently well. I I just could wish I was just a little bit sharper
Right.
um, with the
Well,
game.
hey, did you end up making it to any other courses? Did you see any other courses or show your kids' family? I assume some of them made it out to any other courses.
No, so I literally I found out that I was going to play in Tiger's event, kind of like a week before that. So the trip like kind of shortened. I was going to go a little bit longer, and just I didn't end up taking the family out. I was planning on taking the family out, but I was only there for like 8 days, so it was kind of really short. I got there and I just treated it as a normal tournament. And then literally flew out the Sunday night. So I finished playing the tournament that Sunday, and was at the airport at 8 o'clock that night, flying back to Ohio. So
Okay. So if I hear it right, the family didn't make it this year.
no, family didn't make it this year,
Anyway.
unfortunately. Yeah,
Well, when would you maybe hope to get back and let them see it? Because I don't think Dash has been there yet,
no,
right?
no. I was trying to get Dash to go down with me, but Mum put a complete nix on that. She's like, "You don't even know when to feed him." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably true," but So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, next year would be great. Obviously get some time off in the fall next year, play well this coming year, get some time off in the fall, and then yeah, if I could get the whole family down there, that'd be great. If not, then obviously um, another time.
Yeah. Speaking of the whole family, you might hear my kids screaming at
Yeah,
each other upstairs. Hey, it's life. It's what we have. You
you
got
know
five
what?
young ones at home.
100%. And the crazy thing is, at the end of the day, like you're gonna miss those little voices at some point. You know what I mean? And they're all gonna grow up, and obviously Dash is 12 now, and I still, obviously remember little voices and little footsteps going through the house, and we still have that right now. But at some point, that stuff is going to be gone, and we'll be missing those loud, chaotic moments.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like that leads to a question. When have you felt most fulfilled in your life, Jason?
Most fulfilled. It definitely wasn't when I was number one. I wasn't fulfilled at number one. It really, honestly wasn't. Like, I mean, I thought that, like, getting to number one, that I'd feel more fulfilled. But like, it's funny. Like, the more and more that like I spend time away from my family, the more kids I add to my family. Having a
Right.
lot of kids, the more that happens. Typically, I feel more fulfilled when I have, more kids and like time away. Like I want to get back to my family. So as the years have gone on and progressed, in my career, I've definitely enjoyed having, um, you know, more kids and more time at home.
Totally. Yeah, no, I get that. And also too, Greg Chalmers told me that winning can be lonely sometimes. I know he was there, he got his win in Reno, and it just like that really is a takeaway for him was that wow, it can be lonely. It's surprising. They don't tell you that.
Yeah, no, and like I mean, being on the road can be very lonely. Obviously you're in hotel rooms or homes, and you're by yourself, and you could definitely win, and and not have that support system around you. It's really, really difficult. So, fortunate enough for me, I'm able to bring my family on the road with me, even though it is chaotic at times. But I'm able to bring my family on the road, and we homeschool and we travel around on the bus. So that's we're a very tight knit family. We're like a little tribe that kind of goes around everywhere.
Yeah, I love it. And I think you guys had a ranch that you got purchased up in North
Yeah,
earlier this summer,
yeah,
which must be
yeah.
ATVs with dash. What are you guys driving?
So we do. I've got a Polaris that I drive with the family around, and then at some point I'm going to get myself and the bigger kids some ATVs. But I've got Arrow has a little Yamaha 50, and Lucy has a little Kawasaki 90 quad. So
Of course.
they're just riding around everywhere, which is fantastic.
I love that. Hey, so I want to talk about majors for a minute. I know that's something you always prioritize that. And there's a wow, how do you go from kids to majors? But it is what it is.
Yeah,
That's our life, right?
yeah,
The Masters, obviously, it's, of
yeah.
course, you've loved so much. Why do you feel like you've played well there in the past, and what do you have to do well to contend, get in the mix again this year?
Typically in the past, when I've played well, I've actually had a pretty good. I've approached the green has been pretty good for me. You have to. It's a very. It's important on knowing where you got to miss the greens, miss it around the green. So once you know your misses, and you are actually striking the ball pretty well coming into the greens, that definitely takes a lot of pressure off not only the short game side of things, but knowing that you're giving yourself opportunities, and you don't really have to do anything too crazy around Augusta. You don't have to take on the corners. You can hit to the corners. You can, from the corners, you can get to the greens. You obviously will have a little bit of a longer golf shot coming into the greens, but if you kind of plan, you can be conservatively aggressive around that place. But if you have a good short game, that definitely helps to like kind of alleviate some of the stress when you do miss the greens. But when I've played well there, I've typically struck the ball going into the greens pretty well.
How much would you relish that chance to win the green jacket?
I mean, it's something I've dreamed about my whole life. So, and I don't try and think about it too much because I know that I kind of psych myself out a little bit, But yeah, I think just thinking about it now, I just like I just got I'm looking forward to the moment of being able to have that opportunity again.
Obviously, approach is so important there. But do
Yeah.
you get pretty comfortable once you get back on property, the familiarity of it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I feel pretty comfortable with it all. Like, I've been going there for so long that I know the course pretty well. I know exactly where to hit it, where not to hit it. Although sometimes I struggle with controlling the ball to get it to their positions, but I just enjoy the week. Thoroughly enjoy it. It's such a unique and cool place to be able to be a part of. Not only being a professional there, but being part of the history of playing that event.
Right. And how are you feeling body wise? Are you able to put in the time that you'd like to with injury back? I know back's been something over
Yeah,
the years, but like, how are you
yeah.
feeling with the amount of time you're able to put in now?
Yeah, no, I feel good. Like every now and then you just get like little, slight, injuries that pop up, and it's not injuries, they're just like kind of like little flare-ups, you would say. Um but I would say, touch wood, like the whole year has been great for me. Like I haven't had a problem, which has been fantastic. So that means that the stuff that I'm working technically, and the stuff that I'm working on, with my body, is going in the correct direction. So I just got to stay patient, stay the course, and then see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of injuries and speaking of the body, I know that you spoke with Evan Priest, I think a month or so ago, and the discussion was about how Liv had apparently said that you get injured too often. That was like how it
Yeah,
came out. What was kind of your takeaway from that conversation with them, and how did it make you
yeah.
feel?
I never had a conversation with him. It was more like my agent, in regards to that. Like, I mean, I never really even thought about leaving, to be honest. It's just that I remember my agent coming to me and saying, "Hey, I'm going to have a chat to Liv," because obviously he had players over there as well. And I'm just gonna have a chat to him. He goes, "You don't have to be involved." And I said, I'd prefer not to be involved, but it's always nice to be able to know and see if there's any, like, I mean, as a business sense, it's nice to be able to go and find out like what the potential could be, and then weigh those potentials. And for me, they gave me a pretty easy out. Like I was never intending to go across there anyways, and that was never my intention. But it was, an agent always has to go out and try and find the best deals, or potential sponsors. Whatever business you can potentially get. And that was his job. And obviously, they came back and said, no, he's injured too much. And to be honest, I understand it. Like, if I was in the same situation, if I was in their shoes, and I'm like, well, this guy, he's been injured a lot. There's a lot of money that we're potentially putting out there, and if he's not playing, then that'd be a bad investment. So I definitely understand that. So, but looking back on it, like, if they would have given me like a number and it would have been a significant number, then you're like going, oh man, like I'm kind of torn. So
What do you do?
I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that they were like, no, we're not gonna even throw a number at him because of these injuries. And like I said before, I was very happy with where I was at PGA Tour. Like, I didn't need the money at all. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I'm just very, very happy that I stayed, because the more and more I thought about, once you start chasing money and everything like that, um, I thought about like what golf does for me, and what kind of, how that like kind of sits in alignment with my life, and how much it gives me purpose. Every day I'm up working on my body. I'm up, working on my game. I'm like, everything kind of revolves around me trying to improve myself, not only as a person, but as a player. And I'm not sure if that would have given me that out on Live. So I'm very, very pleased that, I am where I am. And being able to play tournaments that have been around for a very, very long time. It's easy for me to say, hey, it's not so much about the money, whereas someone is, starting their career out, and, they haven't had a lot of money, and that's all they want to do is win money. But, at the end of the day, if you just focus on trying to win the tournaments, the big tournaments, the stuff that actually means a lot, all the money follows anyway. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stuff that means a lot, just in wrapping up here, last couple of things, what means a lot? I asked Billy Horschel this year, I said, what does Sunday pressure feel like to you? He says, it's everything I ever wanted when
Yeah.
on Sunday. How do you describe it?
It's yeah, I agree with that. It's something where, when you're in that moment, it's the most stressful situation that you can probably potentially put yourself in regards to professional sport, in what we do golf wise. Because not only is it for us to be able to walk around the golf course, but like, it's a mental toughness to be able to get yourself over the line to be able to win a tournament. And you either go two ways. You either run towards it or run away from it. You know what I mean? And it's difficult, and trying to replicate that feeling of being in that moment and trying to win a tournament. There's nothing like it. So after it happens, you're like, I want to do that again, and you want to keep doing that again, because it's just, you're trying to test yourself to see how far you go. It's funny, like, I heard a great thing from an NHL coach, that, like, as athletes, if you think about like people that are in business, they typically like rehearse their speeches. In acting, they do 5, 10 takes, but in sports, it's at the moment, at right then and there. So we're in a sport, in a professional sport, that we're able to, the thing that happens like, in live, in real time, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Jason, always appreciate the time, and thanks for jumping on for a few here.
No worries, mate. Good to be back.